What's up? Erik, 74 Weld. Welcome to my fireside chat. We're out here doing an install on this Jeep Gladiator, and we've gotten to the point where the whole rear end is all mocked up. We have the brakes set up and we're ready to drive, except we need to bleed the brakes. And this is a very important part of the process. There are a few things that are kind of different with our portal setup than a typical brake bleed, so we wanted to go through that. As well as some tips and tricks that we've kind of developed over a couple years of doing this. So first things first, what is bleeding brakes? Well, your brake system, it's a hydraulic system. You're going to push down on your brake pedal. That's going to apply pressure to your master cylinder, which is going to deliver hydraulic pressure to your caliper, which is then going to squeeze the rotor. It's a sealed hydraulic system, so whenever you crack these brake lines or that's going to introduce air into the system, and you don't want that, because the whole system works because the hydraulic fluid is not compressible. So you're basically creating pressure in the brake system that's going to generate force on these pads. If you have air in the system, which is compressible, as you push down on that pedal, you're going to be compressing air, which is not going to directly deliver force, straight to your pads. That's going to give you a soft pedal feel and make your brakes less effective. So brake bleeding is super important, for any vehicle, but especially when you're putting big tires on a vehicle, you don't want to compromise that stopping power. And so, that's why we just wanted to go through it and show you how we tend to do it. So if you read our instructions, you'll see the first thing we ask you to do is to actually mock up the brake system, before you bleed. So I know we've had some customers who would like to, before they even take their factory components off, hook up the brake lines and bleed the system just so it's done. You don't have to think about it. And part of the thought process there, which is something we'll dive into more later, is that you're going to have your calipers in their factory position already, which is going to make it easier to bleed rather than later, which is, again, something we'll touch on in a minute. The reason that we ask you in the instructions to mock everything up prior to bleeding is that we want you to be able to route your brake lines as they're going to be in the vehicle prior to clamping down on these banjo bolts or these fittings up here. Because if you go through and you bleed everything and then later on you go to route your brake lines, it seems fairly flexible and everything, but if you routed along brake line and got it wrong, you kind of know that twisting of the line is going to make things not really go where you want it to go, or you might choose later that you want to route it in a different direction. And so if you've already bled your system and then you have to go and adjust the line, what you've basically done is made it so you have to bleed the system twice, because you can crack this just a little bit, air's going to get in. And you want to be as thorough as possible, when you're doing this procedure. So that's what we've done so far. We've routed this up. Like, we're going to tie this off to the hose and everything, but it's far enough along that we can see, like, this is where we want our brake hose to go. So we've tied it into the factory hard line here and into the caliper. So then we get into the next thing, which is brake caliper position. So kind of touched on that earlier. Like, that's part of the thought process we've had a lot of customers have with trying to bleed them, before starting the portal install, because you do want to bleed them more in the factory location. So as you can see here, this caliper is rotated down, and pretty much every caliper position that we have on any design is going to be rotated down from factory to some degree. And the reason for that is we have a 4-gear portal system, which creates a diamond out of gears. And so one of our idler gears is exactly where that caliper needs to be, to be in the factory position. So to some extent, we do need to rotate the caliper down just to be able to package everything, to physically put it, where it needs to go. While we're doing that, because we make our own brake rotors, we also try to pull the caliper outboard into the wheel as much as possible, just because, we have had some concern from people that rotating the caliper down is going to make it more prone to rock impacts or anything like that. So we pull it into the wheel as much as possible. if you look at a lot of these builds, especially the ones with nice high positive offset wheels, you're not even going to see the caliper from the front or the rear. So, you know, we have had people where, you know, stuff happens, something will get in the wheel. It's fairly rare. And if you're really concerned about the caliper position, we've done a lot of work with Power Brake and Willwood to provide brake upgrade kits where we can have a 6-piston Willwood or Power Brake caliper, you know, nearly vertical on the side of this. And that mostly has to do with how it's mounted to, you know, to the portal box. Because they're radial mount racing, like 6-piston style calipers, they don't have the typical factory brake ears that are kind of interfering with our gears. So, you know, various levels to what kind of brake, you know, location you can have. So, you know, to some extent though, it's going to be rotated down from being completely vertical. So in order to bleed it, you're going to want to rotate it up. I do have a little prop here, this guy, just to kind of, I guess, show why you're going to want to do that. So this is the cylinder from this caliper. So it's going to be sitting like that right now. And so this is the cylinder that's pressurized that'll then push a piston out into your brake rotor. On this side, this is our Willwood rear mechanical parking brake. Well, it's an integrated parking brake. It's a combination caliper, basically. So you have 2 bleed screws. So like on a factory caliper, there's typically only going to be 1 bleed screw. And you'll notice it's always at the higher end of the caliper. So they have 2 bleed screws here, probably just to be able to use this part on, you know, one side or the other. But basically what you're doing when you add air into the system is, you know, the brake fluid's going to enter through your line on this side, and it's going to start filling up from the bottom, right? And then these bleed screws will enter this piston at some location. So if the bleed screw is down here and that hole is right here, your fluid's going to fill up to that hole, and then it's going to start to exit the piston. And so now you have this whole void up here, which is going to be full of air. And no matter how much you pump on that brake pedal, all it's going to be doing is compressing that air into the top of this cylinder. So that's why it's really important to rotate this up. So for example, on this one, like, so if you're looking at your OE brake, you can see where it is on the axle or the steering knuckle before you do the portal install, to kind of get a reference of where that caliper has been designed to be during the brake bleed process. For this one, this is an aftermarket caliper, so we can see like, okay, it's going to be right here. Here's the bleed screw. Oh, look, this is where it's entering the cylinder, so we want that to be on the top. So it's going to be about right there. So a little past that directly, you know, vertical. And luckily it's a hole entering a cylinder, so it kind of makes a wide entry. So there is a little bit of variance to where that can be. So what we'll do is, you know, everything's torqued down so far. So like your brake hose up here is attached to the hard line. You've got your banjo bolt torqued onto the caliper. So we'll remove that real quick. So because of the brake bracket, you can't just rotate it up. So on most kits, what you can do is flip the brake rotor inside out. And we'll do that right now. So we'll do that, turn that inside out. We also, like if you're a dealer and doing a lot of these, we have a kit where it's basically a laser cut plate that's gonna bolt to this hole pattern, 6-lug or 8-lug, with an extension coming off and blocks, which will be the various rotor widths. So you can change those blocks out, and then, you know, it's one tool for all the way around. You don't have to keep flipping rotors around. So like this one here, it's basically where we want it to be right about here to be able to bleed it properly. Unfortunately, the caliper is coming into contact with the bracket. In some cases, when that happens, what you can do is take your factory rotor and clamp it to the rotor that we supplied, and now you've got a spot up here where you can mount it. On this Jeep rear, we have enough slack where we can move this caliper over here and use it on this side where it's not going to interfere with the bracket or the box or anything. And typically it'll be really important to, you know, make sure that the same bleed screw is going to be on the same side when you flip it around like this. This one has 2 bleed screws, so you can bleed it in either direction. But for a factory caliper, just know, you know, the bleed screw will only be on one side. So we got the rotor secure right there. Put this on here. We can use a little clamp, and we can secure it like that. And that's right about where we were looking at. So when you set it up like this, just note that, like right now we have this counterbalanced with a caliper on the other side. So, you know, there's a little bit of resistance to it, but with some of the heavier brake calipers, like you'll put it on like this and it'll just start to rotate down. You don't want to stretch these too much. This probably looks bad on camera, but there's plenty of slack in here. You don't want to stretch on these. So, you know, sometimes if you're working on the ground like I am today, you can put a jack stand under there, or you can have another clamp that'll, you know, index onto something. But for right now, like this one is a light caliper, balances out pretty well. So then we start doing, okay, let's gravity bleed it. I guess before we even get into that, on a lot of these newer vehicles, they're pretty sensitive on their brake system. So if you're to this point, you've already done this, but like the Toyotas, the Fords, they have the electronic rear parking brake. So, you know, you can go in, type in your little code to release the electronic parking brake. On the Toyotas, like what our mechanic used to do was he'd have someone turn the car on so the brake was released, and then he just unplug the the harness so it just would stay released. The Ford ones, they have the brake maintenance mode. You know, it's always a good idea to do that just so that the computer is thinking, you know, it doesn't get confused about whatever. What we typically do is at the start of a portal install, we're gonna disconnect the battery, and that'll just allow us to do whatever we need to do without messing something up. And then at the very end, we'll reconnect it. Before you start bleeding, you wanna make sure that your brake fluid reservoir is full. So you'll hear this all the time, don't let your master cylinder run dry. What that means is just as you start running through fluid in that reservoir, eventually it's going to run out. And if you run out of fluid in the reservoir, now you're going to get air into your master cylinder. And now you have to bleed the whole thing, because now the cylinder that's feeding everything is now pumping air into the system, and that kind of sucks. So you really don't want to do that. So typically all the vehicles we make portal kits for, it's like .3, .4 fluid. It'll say on the cap on the reservoir which fluid you need. It's always a good idea to top it off and you know, check it periodically through the brake bleed process just to make sure it's not getting too low. It's not like you know, when you're gravity bleeding and stuff, you'll see the rate that the fluid comes out. It's not super fast. Once you start getting into bleeding with the power on and everything, it'll start coming out faster. That's when you really need to watch it. But definitely don't, you know, let it start gravity bleeding and then go to lunch or anything like that. So on this one, we already topped off the brake fluid reservoir. We're starting with the caliper furthest from the master cylinder, and then we're gonna go in sequence till we get closer. This is a Jeep, don't need to bleed the front brakes, so that's kind of nice. We're just gonna do the 2 rears. So on this one, again, there's 2 bleed screws. So when I was looking at this, you have your lower bleed screw down here. There is a little bit of a cavity between the cylinder and the lower bleed screw. So for the Willwood setup, we're just going to gravity bleed the lower one first, just for a little bit, just to make sure that there's not air trapped in there. Because if you only do this one, there's just a little bit in there, you know, you'll know you could have done a better job. So, all right, we'll set up this little tube. You got to get your something for the brake fluid to go into. This particular one, 10mm wrench, and then set it in there, and you just open the bleeder and then wait for something to happen. All right. Okay, here we go. So that took a little while, but fluid's already coming out slowly but surely. There's a couple of bubbles. So we're just gonna wait till there's no more bubbles coming out. So, all right, as you can see, we got some big bubbles coming out. This one, I mean, it's a completely dry cylinder right now, so it's gonna continue to bleed for a while. But I just wanted to make sure that little cavity in there. So, there we go. All right, now we can move to the other side. All right. There we go. So now we'll go to the top one. Boom. All right. So this one is the one we want to focus on because this is where all the air is going to exit the top of that cylinder. So this will take a little while. We'll get that off to the side there. There we go. Okay, we'll do that. All right, it's starting to go. You can see it bubble. There we go. Here's a little tip that we've found recently. So these little Thayer guns, they can speed up the process by vibrating some of the air out of there. So our guy Chad had one of these. He's gracious enough to let us borrow it. Let's go. Now, and what we're looking for is a solid stream to be coming out. So you can see there's a lot of air in that. And Christian was telling me he's the one who hooked this up. He started at the top, connected our rubber supplied brake hose to the hard line, and then let it drain out at the banjo before connecting it to the caliper. And what that's going to do is kind of pre-bleed air out of the line. That's a good move because then you only have air in the caliper to bleed out, but it still takes a while to get all of this air out. So you can see it's just going and going and going. You can try different sides. So here we're just trying to kind of show you what the goal is with all of this. Now that we've gotten a lot of the air bubbles out, we vibrated it. So as you can see, there's just a solid stream of brake fluid coming out, and it's slowly going over there. No more air bubbles coming out from this side. Once we go to do the powered bleed, we'll probably get a little more air out, but you're just looking for that solid stream coming out with no bubbles. And as you can see, we got basically most of the way just off gravity bleeding, so hell yeah. All right, so we've gravity bled this corner. What we're gonna do is then move on to the next corner in sequence from furthest from the master cylinder to the closest. So on this Jeep, the master cylinder fluid reservoir is on the front driver. So we're gonna go rear passenger, rear driver, front passenger, front driver, except Jeep, you don't have to bleed the front, so that's pretty cool. Then from there, we close up the reservoir after topping it off, and then make sure all the bleed screws are closed. And then we'll go ahead and do, a powered bleed without the vehicle on. So we'll have someone hop into the driver's seat, and with the vehicle off, I'll have them pump the brakes 6 or 7 times, and then on that last time, hold it down, and then they'll yell to me, holding. And then what I'm gonna do is, again, with this hooked up, open the bleed screw, let the fluid flow out, and I'm looking for air bubbles. And, open it a couple seconds, watch the fluid go out, close the bleed screw, and then if you need to go again, I'll just yell again, and they'll do it again. We repeat that. Again, we'll do that corner by corner in the same sequence: rear passenger, rear driver, front passenger, front driver. And then once we've gotten as much air out as we can that way, then we'll turn the vehicle on and power bleed it with the whole system running. And we found this to be a pretty effective method to get as much air out as possible, get that pedal feeling firm, give you all the stopping power you need. And yeah, if you have any more questions, info@74weld.com. Give our guy Chad a call. He loves answering your questions, and we'll see you on the next one.